followers are here for the freelance paralegal guidance. They're here to change the trajectory of their career, find that independence, find that financial and personal freedom, build their own businesses, and completely take control of their careers and realities. All you have to do to get started is just begin. Hi, and welcome back to what you will notice is now called the Paralegal Freelance Lounge. Jaclyn Foster here, and I thought that it would be a very, very appropriate episode this week to enlighten you on what's going on in my world, because there is so much going on. Now, first and foremost, I want to address the name change. And with the name change, obviously it's nothing drastic. What was the Paralegal Mastery Lounge is now the Paralegal Freelance Lounge. I want to tell you and also give you a business insight at the exact same time, and coming from a more behind the scenes, personal background approach to it. So with the name change, I also want to give you a little bit of behind the scenes as to what it's like running businesses and decisions and pivots and tweaks and adjustments that need to be made along the way. And my name change is a perfect example of that while I explain to you the name change reason. So we didn't jump too far. We were Paralegal Mastery Lounge to Paralegal Freelance Lounge. And before that, actually in 2020, I originated what I called the Paralegal Entrepreneur Circle. When I started the Paralegal Entrepreneur Circle, it truly wasn't out of a place of necessarily coaching or consulting. I was very new at the time to my own freelance paralegal business, and we started to merge into an agency. And as we were starting to merge into that agency route, I realized this deep frustration not only my clients were experiencing, but also myself, as we were working to bring more talented freelancers into the agency and matching them with our clients. We made a few really bad hires in the early stages of my agency, and it was a place of frustration that I felt there has to be paralegals out there that truly want to freelance full time and want to show up in a professional way to that mission and to that initiative in their career. And so I started the Paralegal Entrepreneur Circle as a means to network, connect, find more paralegals that were very driven for business ownership. Into 2021 is when I started a little bit of coaching. You know, I had found success in my business. I had scaled it to 6 figures within the year. And I thought that I could give back. And all these paralegals that I have connected with started asking me questions, asking for guidance naturally, just as my connection. Maybe they were freelancing with me. Maybe they just were in my group, and I would go live here and there to talk about freelancing. And they reached out, and it was natural. And, I kept teaching the same things over and over again. A light bulb moment came up, and I'm like, what if I create a course to invite paralegals into and follow the exact things I did in my first year to scale my business to 6 figures? So we did that, and we had, I can't even remember. I think 50 people signed up for my course. It was very fun. It was a new experience for me. And I met even more amazing paralegals, many to which I am connected with today, and many of which who have gone on to build very successful businesses. I didn't give my full attention to the Paralegal Entrepreneur Circle. It was more of a side hobby, for lack of better terms, than a core part of my everyday business. I would pop in here and there live. I did dabble with a few podcast episodes just to keep the community engaged and people excited. And again, it continued to help staff my agency. It was then that people started to notice, other recruiters, other agencies, attorneys, etc., started to notice this network and this group around me that I had built of paralegals wanting to freelance full time. I didn't realize that the mere act of starting this group out of a place of frustration and trying out something new, which was coaching years ago, would catapult me into what is happening in my world in 2024. But before I get into 2024, I want to back up a little bit and talk about 2023. So in 2023, I moved into my brand new house. We had scaled the agency to $500,000 from a camper. I was living in a camper the better half of 2022 while our house was being built. I was pinging Wi-Fi off of my in-laws. It was very sketchy, very sketchy. And I moved into this new house in 2023. I took a little bit of time off to get us settled, get our kids settled. We obviously finished up our basement. My office was created and it was very exciting. But in 2023, I had realized that the year prior, although we had scaled to $500,000 in revenue, I was getting further away from what truly lit me up. And it took me about 6 months into the year to really have that light bulb moment and realize that my true passion has always been a mixture of placing paralegals with their perfect law firms and seeing those law firms succeed as a result, and seeing paralegals freelancing dreams become a reality as a result was so magical for me. For, a corny word to use, but it felt so magical and so rewarding. That was part of my passion. And then the other part of my passion truly was the coaching aspect. As our business, the agency got very busy and I was living in the camper, I did not go live. I did not spend a lot of time in the entrepreneur circle. I sort of let it slip away from my everyday, every week routine. And I didn't realize how much of me was missing that component. And while I never really truly monetized anything I did in my coaching and consulting freelance paralegals, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I guess it goes without saying, as I am the product of an entire family of educators. My mom was an educator. My dad was an educator. My stepdad was an educator. 3 out of 4 of my grandparents were educators. My stepmom is educating, has moved into the education realm of her career. And I guess it just was naturally born into me. I can even remember when I worked at Wells Fargo, I started a educational program for the schools in our county, made the newspaper. It was so much fun. And never realizing that teaching truly was something that drives me, that lights me up, that makes me have a hard time coming down from the adrenaline at the end of the day after I've done a live coaching session or a live webinar or anything of that matter. Going into the summer of 2023, I rebranded my paralegal group that I had built over the years and changed the name from Paralegal Entrepreneur Circle to Paralegal Mastery Lounge. Now, the main reason for this was a mixture of me wanting to get back into my coaching and refresh this group and start a new membership program where we would talk about all things paralegal career development, whether that's through entrepreneurship or through holistic career development approaches. The other reason I went away from the branding of entrepreneur was because in late 2022, we added another service to the agency in the recruiting space. So we were doing a lot of paralegal recruiting for full-time positions. Now, we still do paralegal full-time recruiting positions. However, that was the main reason for the change, is that when you think back to why I initially started that group, it was to connect with more freelance-minded paralegals wanting entrepreneurship, and feeling that I needed to sort of balance that out. I took off the branding of entrepreneurship and generalized the group. And I definitely had a lot of fun coaching and continuing to educate, and we had a lot of great members sign up for the private mastery lounge, but I still just wasn't quite scratching that itch. As I have been continuing to build up my coaching and consulting of paralegals and my educational platform, my podcast, this YouTube channel, my LinkedIn webinars, I had to take a moment this month and step back and look at the data. And this is why between my Paralegal Entrepreneur Planner and the Freelance Paralegal Roadmap course and almost everything I teach around marketing, I always say, record your data so you can make informed decisions. What's working? What's not working? What are the results? What's the most popular content you're publishing? What type of theme can you talk on that gets the best response? And I took a moment at the beginning of beginning of last month, actually in February, to sit down and start analyzing it. And I had a hunch that the freelance content was going to do the best. And lo and behold, it was unequivocal that 90% of my listeners, 90% of my followers are here for the freelance paralegal guidance. They're here to change the trajectory of their career, find that independence, find that financial and personal freedom, build their own businesses, and completely take control of their careers and realities. 90% of my podcast episodes were topping in the freelance space. 99% of my blogs are performing the best when they're talking about business ownership for paralegals. And funny enough, you will always hear me talk about creating your North Star client, creating your ideal client, and taking it even further and connecting yourself personally to the North Star client and that person that you're here and wanting to serve. And looking back on my entire paralegal journey, from working in firm to moving and starting a new firm to staying at home with my baby and starting subcontracting, to poverty, to struggling financially, to all these things, and then to everything around me that my freelance paralegal business, just starting one in 2020, did for my life, for the life of my family, my children, has done. It is no surprise that the paralegals out there that for whatever personal reasons are being drawn to my content because it's relatable, because my story is relatable, and because it's built with them in mind. Lately, I've been overwhelmed in the best way possible by paralegals reaching out to me privately, publicly, on my posts, on my video content, on every avenue of my platforms, to tell me how much X resonated with them, to tell me how much my story resonated with them, to tell me how much they needed to hear XYZ video I published today, that this was the push they needed to finally break into their freelance realities, to break into starting freelance businesses for themselves. So this is my long way of explaining the reasoning and the mission behind my rebrand. And I know I'm running the risk of losing the engagement from some of the paralegals that follow me out there that maybe just aren't ready to freelance and the content I post isn't relevant for them yet. But what I ask of you, if that's the case, if you really truly dream, you find yourself daydreaming, you find yourself imagining what could be if you started your own business and were successful, I ask that you stay with me, because you never know what it might be, what video I post, what words of encouragement, what story, what anything that I put out to you might be the trigger that pushes you into self-belief, that drives you into the action that you need to take to literally change your life forever, like I did when I started my business. Because between the years 2018 and 2020, as I was subcontracting and making $12 to $18, maybe $20 here and there per hour, to building my business in 2020, I was always Googling. I was always reading self-help books, business books, YouTube, binge watching YouTube channels on freelancers. There was nothing out there for me to consume that was related specifically to legal and to freelancing with attorneys. However, I was piecemealing things to try to build that courage to start my own business. I had notebooks filled, and when we moved out of our house in 2022, I found these old notebooks that had collected dust filled with business ideas and service ideas and all these ideas I would have for my business someday. And you never know at what point you consume all this information and you brainstorm and you think about, okay, this is what it'll look like. These are the services I might offer. And ooh, that's a really creative idea to offer this service. You don't know when that tipping point will be where you're just going to say, yes, I feel this is ready. I am ready for this. This is for me. I can be successful and I'm going to run with it. And you never know. A lot of the paralegals that are in my freelance paralegal roadmap course currently are there because they had lost their jobs suddenly. They had mass layoffs in their firm, or the firm decided to dissolve or be acquired. So that's all to say, I hope that even if you're not ready to freelance yet, you still stay with me and ask any questions you have, or ask me to speak on a topic that's burning in your subconscious of why you're not starting. Or maybe you're like, if I just know more about this, it'll inspire me to start. And I am happy to cover those topics for you. Okay. The second reasoning around the rebrand, which is also a little bit of the most exciting news that I've been able to share in recent times, is that many of you will have known, who have been with me for a while now, I have been working tirelessly to develop one of its own, very specifically designed for freelance paralegals, online marketplace and directory. This is called Flex Paralegals USA. So the Flex Paralegals USA marketplace is a marketplace and directory where paralegals, legal assistants, and other legal professionals alike are able to sign up for the platform and create unique profiles with service listings specifically targeting law firms and attorneys within the United States. The listings you can make within your profile on this platform are very robust, truly able to bring your brand, your service offerings, your qualifications, your expertise, and all of the things that make you desirable and completely demonstrate it within the platform. Not just a platform with a list of names and some basic information. You can truly demonstrate your authenticity and the value you bring to law firms within this platform. Attorneys are able to access the platform and search based on our custom fields and our categories that we have set, and they are able to find very specifically who they are looking for and start interacting with that paralegal. So once they start interacting with the paralegal or legal assistant or what have you, you are then free and able, and you are completely unrestricted from taking that relationship off platform. So why this is important to mention is that other freelance marketplaces will require you to interact, engage, and collaborate essentially within the platform. They do this so that they are making sure you are also transacting within the platform so that they can take a commission off of every dollar you make on said platform. We were, in all honesty, when I started Flex Paralegals USA, I was going to absolutely mimic exactly what Upwork is, but brand it specifically for the legal profession. But the more I started thinking about my true mission with the platform, paired with my mission in my coaching and my consulting of freelance paralegals, I realized that deep down, I truly didn't want to cut into the earning potentials of paralegals. I feel more paralegals would join the freelance industry and they would start their own businesses and take control of their lives and take control of their financial realities if it was more achievable without the interruptance of that third party that usually they require to start gaining traction in their business and start getting work. So all that's to say, you could generate, say, $10,000 through the clients that you meet through this platform of Flex Paralegals USA and still only pay the platform under $10 for that whole month. And this monthly fee that we are creating is a founder's fee, meaning anybody that joins this platform within the founder's launch period is going to be grandfathered in to that monthly rate. And we are kicking off our founder's launch with a live event on March 19th at 11 Central Time. I encourage you that even if you cannot make the live event, to click the link below and still sign up for the founders event, the live event, so that you can immediately get that replay. On this event, I am going to demo the entire directory and marketplace. I'm going to answer any questions people have regarding the marketplace. I'm going to show you all the features that are involved and do a complete run through of what this platform has to offer. So if you can attend live or you can't attend live, still make sure you sign up through the link below to get notified of the Flex Paralegals USA launch on March 19th. So in conclusion to all these changes with the rebrand of my coaching and educational platform is that I am here to focus on you specifically as a paralegal that wants to freelance and needs incredible guidance in doing so. And not only just the incredible guidance, I have built my third business specifically with you in mind to make it that much easier to not only build the business, brand the business, set up the business to be a lead magnet. I mean, everybody wants to come into your space and work with you as a freelancer, but also giving you that platform to make it that much easier to get started. And not only get started, but get started in a way where you can actually charge your hourly rate. And as such, you can go from making $50,000 a year to hitting those six-figure marks within your first year very seamlessly between following my roadmap, following my guidance, and also leveraging this incredible platform that is coming to you on March 19th. And really quick side comment for you paralegals out there that aren't ready to take the plunge and go full-time freelance, Flex Paralegals is also perfect for you if you want to freelance on the side. Maybe you want to do some project work on the weekends or in the evenings, and you want to bring in supplemental income. You have a big project at home you want to save up for. Maybe your kids are about to go to school and you just need to bring in some more income and you want to get started. You absolutely have a place in this platform. You're able to on the platform, which I will obviously dive into during the Founders Launch live event, ability to offer your services as project-based, as hourly based. You are the controller of what you are offering. You're not required to fit in some box that so many platforms are requiring you to fit in under all of their specific outlines. Thank you so much if you have made it through this entire episode. I know I didn't provide a whole ton of business insight today, and this was merely an episode to just bring you up to speed on everything that's going on in my middle of nowhere tiny town of Wisconsin, in my office, in the basement of my house. All these things that are happening. And I know it might seem very sudden that I made a brand change, but this has been something I've been considering for a while now and have really just decided this is the right move, especially with Flex Paralegals USA finally coming to life and launching this month. So finally, I just want to actually send a sincere thank you to my subscribers of my podcast, to my subscribers of my YouTube channel, to my followers on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on TikTok. It is one of the scariest things when you start business. Here's another business tip for business insight for you. It's very scary to allow people to see you trying. And I think I heard that today and it resonated so deeply because truly that was a big reason I didn't start my freelance paralegal business in the beginning, was because I didn't want people that I know to see me out there trying, or people I didn't know to see me trying. And so truly, to the bottom of my heart, those of you that message me, that comment, that reach out and tell me you found X video valuable, or they're so glad we connected, or my story resonated with you so much and inspired you. Thank you to the bottom of my heart for doing that. I welcome it. I actually had a paralegal the other day ask me, is it okay to be messaging you here? I don't want to cross any of your boundaries. I don't have boundaries when it comes to that. Reach out to me. Please do. I love making genuine connections with those that are following my content and that are learning from my teachings. So always feel free to reach out to me directly and ask me anything, or make any suggestions on videos or topics you'd like me to cover that you need demystified in the freelancing world, whether that be from a personal standpoint or a business strategy standpoint. I'm here to answer it. I'm here to serve you. This is everything this channel, this podcast, my business is being built around. So thank you so very much again for following the. Make sure if you're on YouTube to subscribe, to turn your notifications on, and the podcast as well. Make sure you're subscribing and leaving us a rating if you feel compelled, as it really helps me grow my podcast. Thank you all very much. And until next week, have a great days ahead of you.